Shut up and sit down.
Hello folks, Colin here, Fengda 67's workshop, and what are we up to today? Well, we've got my compressor on the bench because it's developed a funny little issue that's been going on a while. Now this is a Fengda FD-196 twin pot compressor. Pot 1, it'll auto start at 3 bar, stops at 4, and then when this motor kicks in, it'll go up to 6 bar. But what it's doing when you switch it on is nothing. So what we have to do, or what I've been having to do, is I've been having to take the cover off. Let's just spin a screwdriver a bit around for you. There you go, using my screwdriver of saintliness. Let's pop this cover off and show you what I've been having to do, which is quite frustrating, especially when you're in the middle of a paint job. Now this is a common little fault that happens with these apparently, so we're going to see whether we can fix it, and it's been a while since this has been serviced, so we'll have a look. Now a few weeks back I went in and investigated and found an issue with the main capacitor, which I've got just here, and that had blown. As you can see, it's got a big old lump on the side, and this is a CBB61 6UF capacitor, so we swapped that out and it worked for a few more weeks. But what we have to do is we have to take this out, and then in there you've got your piston. That's it, just in there. And what I've been having to do is whop the screwdriver in, move the piston, and then it works again. Like so. And then it stops again, see it? So, again, we give it a nudge. It should work again. We're going to see if we can remedy that today. The first things first, unplug, coil up your wire, get that all nice and safe onto one side, out of the way, and then bleed your compressor, just in case. But I'm lucky, I've got no pipes on it, so the tank will be empty. So I'm going to do a bit of a field strip on this. So we'll start loosening off some components. My first one is going to be undoing this little union here, because I want to pop the heads off. Get them out of the way, folks, okay? So using a little adjustable, we'll back that off, and then we'll be able to lift them up, get them out of the way, just to make things a little bit more professional. Right, let's get these all off. Simple Allen bolt connections on all of them. Work your way around. Just like so. And then once we've got the bolts loosened, we can scoot them straight out and get rid of them out of the way. So let's just back them off, move these handles off shot, because if anyone's going to lose them, it'll be me. I've got new filters on order as well, new little air filters, so we'll swap them out at a later date. They're pretty simple to do, they just screw in. I'll show you them in a second when I've got the heads off, but they do clog up, folks. So anyone with one of these compressors, have a little looky-loo at your filters. If I spin it around, I'll show you these little things that screw in the end there. Okay, Now mine are nice and clean because I stuck them in a little pot with some Mr. Hobby airbrush cleaner. But then, now normally if you look at yours and it isn't shiny like that, it's jet black or just feels sticky, that's because it's blocked. So unscrew both of them if you've got the twin pot. Put them in a little pot with some Mr. Hobby airbrush cleaner and it will kick all the rubbish out of them. And then these will become my spares. So there you go. Right, let's carry on and get the other head off. And then we can start stripping this down like that. Hopefully this is going to be a pretty simple fix. I've got a feeling over time, because I've had this a good few years now, I reckon over time, this where it vibrates, has shimmied this housing. There's got 4 long bolts that go into this, that go into the motor. And I think over time, it's just rattled this and it's moved it a fraction out and it's just binding on the bottom of the conrod. There you go. And that's the heads. Now, them seals are fine. We're happy with those. A little bit of rust forming on the inside of them. But what we're going to do is we're going to mark these up whilst I've got them open. So we're going to have on there C2, that's C1 for cylinder. And then I mark just across the edge there. And then this one is number 2. And the reason I'm doing that is that I'll put these on the right way round. And why not? Let's have a laugh. Fengda was here. That's now going to live there forever. Someone one day may do this again. Yeah, they're going to wonder what's going on. So let's lop them off. These have just got a little seal that sits in there and they look fine. But if you notice, when you move this, you've got a wear ridge or a dust ridge forming. So we'll clean all of this off and make these smooth, because that could be enough to be causing them to bind. So we'll clean them off. Got like a little rubbery cork seal type thing going on in there. What I'm hoping is once I clean this, that'll be enough to make that a nice smooth surface again, and it shouldn't catch. That's what I'm hoping. Do the same on this one. Pop the head off, check the rubbers. They all look fine. Little valve seems to be doing its thing. And you can get these as spares, folks. And that just literally just pops down, the air comes up through. So they're pretty straightforward. And let's have a look at this one. So that's a bit dirty and a bit grubby. And that seal, it's usable. But yeah, could probably do with getting a set of seals at some point there and changing them out. So that's one for future reference. But as you can see, there's good old mucky wear ridges on them. So we'll get them cleaned out in a bit. And then when we put it back, we'll reseat them properly. But I want to get in and see whether or not we can free up this piston. So let's pop the big capacitor out. And in there I've got my ground and the earth. So we'll pop that back so that we can then loosen off them bolts. So I'm just going to take that back a little bit because that's one of the long bolts that we need to adjust. Let's quickly just loosen these feet brackets. So that one's loosened. Let's just quickly shove that up there. Move that round there. Do the same with this side. So get your adjustable on the nut on the bottom. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. And then we'll flip our bigger screwdriver bit in, which is that one. I only want to loosen them enough so that when I give this a clump, it will shock it back into place. That's what we want to do. Okay. Now we can go round. Just loosen off the rest of these bolts in there. You've got one up there, one there. Okay. These will be coming off in a second. That's the piston housing there. But what I want to do is I just want to back that off and give that a tap just to see whether the casing itself has moved forward. And then loosen this off. Just get a bit more light in there. There you go. So we can see what we're doing there. And all this is a protective sleeve that goes around the piston. Stops the wires getting trapped and caught up in the conrod assembly. So let's bring that out of the way. And remember to put this back in, folks, because if you don't, your wires will end up getting caught up in here. Okay. So we've got another bolt head down there that we want to loosen. And we'll just check to make sure there isn't another one hidden behind there. Like so. Let's loosen that off and quickly give that a persuasionary tap. We should tighten them back up, and that should be enough to pull that casing back, in the hope that that solves the problem. I won't tighten that one up just yet. Let's just quickly look in there to see if there has been any rubbing. Just the fracas around the edges there, you can see it there. It's had a little bit of a rub-a-dub-dub. So let's see whether that will go in. Little persuasionary tweak, and it will go. Just needs a little bit of tough love. I'll just start the screws back, and then we'll use the bigger screwdriver to tighten them fully. Just with my extra long screwdriver there, I can get a bit of welly on that. Tell you what I will do actually. I'll lubricate that piston and bearing whilst I've got that cover off. So we'll just loosen that back off again, I think. Just to be on the safe side, let's put something under there so that you can see what we're up to. Let's put the old knocker under there. Like that. There you go, folks. Right, let's have a looky-loo. We'll put a bit of silicone lubricant under there just to see whether that'll help that. And make sure there's nothing behind that. There you go. that'll work in there once that starts, and that should help it. So that's what we're going to do with that. So that's that side sorted. Quite a simple process. Then we can just tweak that in place, like so. That tightened down. Don't go too tight by then, don't need to. And then obviously remember to tighten down your ground as well. I just want to get this cover in place. Line it up with its little notch. There you go. That one's tight. So's that one. And that leaves me ground. And then I can put my capacitor back in. Make sure that that doesn't move. It seems happy. I just want to back that round a tag. Don't like it touching the side like that. There you go. Let's do it like so. And go. Now we can pop the capacitor back in place. That lives alongside there, and then that will do its thing like so. So let's just spin it round. That'll then come up the way and go back in place like so. So that's the theory. So that should be, hopefully, us sorted with that end. And just tighten these all down. Just want these to nip. Don't need to be mega tight because you'll break the lugs on the plastic. You just want that casing knot to come off, because obviously that's where all your electrodes are. Like that. Right. Okay, let's have a bit of a clean up on the cylinder heads, I think, didn't you? Let's get rid of that again. We'll move them off just at the back, and we'll take out head number one. Now I want to just make sure I'm putting them on the right way round. So we want a little bit of cleaner. Let's see if we can get a little bit of cleansing done on this. Now I'm deliberately trying to keep it the right way up, just to stop any wear that is initially in there from being increased. So we've got that crud out of there. We can then have a little feel. Yeah, it has worn them sleeves down quite a bit there. Will a buff do it? Almost like a miniature reball, this. But I want to get any wear ridge off of there, just to get any marks off of there, like that. Of what you're doing is you're just taking off all of this crud, just sanding it back a tad. Don't go too mad, don't use too heavy a grit. Get that off just enough to stop anything from fouling, which is what I want. And that should let that run a lot smoother. Oh yeah, beautiful. Oh yeah, happy as a hog in a slop, folks. And that should now go over there like that, see? Like that. So that's now not sticking in there. I'm going to do the same with this one, as you can see. Look how ropey that is. So we'll get all of that scuzz out of there. So we'll put a bit penetrating oil in first. Purely and simply so that when I do my sandy, it don't take too much off of it. Let's quickly go around with a buffer to work the oil in, and then we'll do the same that we've just done. Spin that round, just work that in there, and that is that. Oh yeah, I just want to keep a little bit of the lube on the top there. C1 can go back on. They look clean. Yeah, seals are fine. And this is where the little lines came in, just lets me know. Cylinder 2, cylinder 2. And then we could start reassembling, I think, and see whether or not we've solved the problem. You know, the problem might come back, it might not, but at the end of the day, it's worth a go, isn't it? It's worth a go just to try and save these things. There you go. And we'll do that up first. Bring that in place and start pulling these heads down using that. Because if you tighten the heads down without doing this up, you're going to bend this tube and put a kink in it. You don't want to do that. So try and remember to do this one up first, folks. That's if you've gone this far and taken it off at this unit. I find it easier taking it off down there than trying to get this little unit out. Just take it off right down at the pressure switch assembly or manifold, and then you'll find you'll get your compressor apart a lot easier. Just don't really want to adjust that gap. Have a bit of that on there. And then we could see then by firing it up in a minute whether we've solved the problem. Bingo. Alright, don't need that now. That should have pulled them down enough to start putting the Allen bolts back. So let's just drop them in there. You in there. Like that. Get the key of Allenness in there. Get them to bite, and then we'll go around and we'll tighten them all up then. Let's get that one in there. That one in there. Start getting them to go in. Come back and do that one. And then we can go around and tighten head one down there. I then know I haven't got to worry about it. Right, so do the diagonals. Just how I roll. And then do the same with that one. Make sure the handle still operates. Like so. And then do the same on the last one. Bink. And that's that head done. And we do the same now on the last one. Get that all in play. Just like that. And that is now back together. So we'll just do a quick plug in and see whether or not we've been successful. Alright, we've now hooked it up to my airline. Got it all back together, so we'll do a quick test, shall we? Fingers crossed. Yes! You're alive. Now what I'm doing is, because I've had all of this apart as well, clean this, I want to make sure that my manifold is airtight, but also that this pressure switch is going to cut off at 4 bar, because as you can see I've made an adjustment there. So I just want to make sure that does its thing. And then fingers crossed that will cut off at 4 bar. I'll then release a bit of pressure from the valve, and then it should kick back in. Fingers crossed. Just let this do its thing. That's now cut out. Happy days, just checking my gauge. Yep, that's correct. And she's cut back in. Perfect. So there you go, folks. Don't forget, when you do put all your lubrication on the cylinder bores, it's only to clean it. Make sure you wipe it back off, and also just go round the seals with a little bit of very, very fine, about 800 grade, just to knock off any dirt, detritus from the cleaning process, and then just buff it. Make sure they're nice and clean, reassemble the heads, and Bob's your uncle. So we'll just quickly check that again, make sure she kicks in. There she goes. So I'm going to love and leave you there. I've now successfully got my compressor back up and running. I'm an happy festa. Hopefully you've learned something from that. Fingers crossed, and give it a try, folks. Look at it. Like I say, hopefully you've learned something. Make sure obviously you mark things up, you get your heads the right way up, your valves and that, and then just literally go around, check all your connections, any that are slightly dubious like that one, whack a bit of PTFE tape around it. I'm now going to sit and play with my compressor because it's working again, and I'm an happy festa. Stay safe and well, folks. See you on the next one.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down,